Have you heard of an iBuyer but aren't really sure what it is? Have you thought about selling to Zillow Offers or Opendoor or buying through Opendoor? Well, I'll give you the inside scoop from a real estate transaction that I just wrapped up as the buyer's agent for an Opendoor property. Hi, I'm Heather McCarthy, your concierge agent and realtor with Better Homes and Gardens Reliance Partners here in Roseville, California. As you may have heard, these iBuyer programs have had some unforeseen hiccups, and Zillow Offers has stopped doing their offers entirely, and Opendoor has suffered some pretty significant stock volatility. So we'll see if these programs are viable going forward, but this was my experience from the buyer's agent side. What is Opendoor? Well, Opendoor is a new concept in home buying and selling, and it gives you some benefits, but is it really better for the consumer? Well, it just kind of depends. I was recently on the buying end of a transaction for an Opendoor property, and it actually worked out to my client's benefit, but I'm sure Opendoor didn't intend it that way. More about that in a minute. Just an overview of how the process works for both Zillow Offers and Opendoor. So these are both options for home sellers as well as home buyers. Home sellers can sell their property directly to Opendoor, and Zillow Offers is now currently putting their process on hold. So they're not currently buying things as of February 2022, but we'll see if they come back to the marketplace. Opendoor has a process where you can submit your property. They will go through a vetting process where they'll do a video walkthrough and possibly some other checks. And then they'll also do just a visual inspection of the property, and then they'll give you an offer. This isn't always the best option for a home seller because in the limited market that we're in now, inventory is scarce and people are paying top dollar for properties that have been well maintained and are in good locations. However, if your property has some repairs that need to be made or has some issues, maybe the neighbor's house looks terrible or things of that nature, then you may get a little bit of a leg up with Opendoor, but just be aware that they're going to offer you an amount that still allows them to shine it up a little bit and make a profit. So it will not be your highest sale price option, but it may be the easiest option. As a buyer with Opendoor, you can set up your own tour through their app, and you can view the property with or without your agent. And they have certain incentives that they have built in if you don't use your own real estate agent. But you should be aware that when you don't have your own separate representation, then you have to depend on their company and their internal agent to guide you through the process. And there are some things that maybe would put you at a disadvantage from a negotiation standpoint. For all offers, there's an offer package that needs to be submitted. And within the offer package, there are things like buyer inspection waivers. And the way that the paperwork communicates, it really kind of encourages buyers to waive their inspections. And that is not a great idea if you are on the buying side of something. You really want to know what you're getting yourself into, and almost every house is going to have some sort of repairs or things that you should know about before you sign on the dotted line. So I always encourage people, get inspections, have an inspection contingency, so that way you really know what you're getting yourself into. At the time that we put our offer in on the property that they ultimately purchased, which is this home, there were 84 Opendoor properties in our market. And as a consequence of that many properties, and I believe at the time there were about 3 to 4 different people managing those properties, there are some things that slip through the cracks. So in a minute, I'll give you kind of an overview of what we saw, how we were able to capitalize on some of those things, and just how that impacts the overall process. So how can you as a buyer get an advantage in an Opendoor scenario? Well, I always encourage people to have an agent representing you. It's just a good idea to have someone looking out for your interests that does this for a living and that can help solve the problems, see the areas of negotiation, and advocate for you. Because ultimately, if you are just working with a seller and you don't have anyone that's looking for opportunities for you, then you may miss out on credits, repairs, things of that nature. So it's very important to have someone looking out for your interests. So here are some tips of how you can beat Opendoor at their own game. Opendoor's process is such that you submit, and your real estate agent will submit the offer online by filling out their offer package. Now, the way this works is it's an online submission. There is a deadline to submit by 8 p.m. if you wish to have a response by the next day. Well, if you submit your offer by 8 p.m., you should have some sort of answer between 12 and 3 the next day. That's at least how it's working at this point in February of 2022. We did submit our offer at 7:48 that evening, and what it gives you back is that they will give you that response the next day. We submitted an offer that was only good for 24 hours. We wanted to make sure that we limited how many people could get through the property and what kind of competition we were going to be dealing with in this low inventory market. One of the things that Opendoor does, but I don't think it's intentional, is that when an offer is submitted, it will show any subsequent viewers of the property that there is an offer in consideration, and that if they want to submit an offer to be considered for the next day, that they have to submit it by noon the next day. The advantage that gave us was from the time that we submitted it before 8 p.m., there really was only up until noon for most people to submit an offer to compete with us. So it gave us a lot more leverage in our situation than if we were in a traditional multiple offer situation. So after we submitted the offer, we waited for their response the next day. They did respond to us the next day, and they gave us some parameters of some things that they wanted to change per our offer. Not very substantial things, but we had a little bit of counter offer, and then we were in contract within 24 hours of less than 24 hours of when we put our offer in. So with this particular property, I had actually seen this property when it originally came on the market at the end of 2021. It was on the market like October, November. And at the time, it had brown cabinetry. And here's a picture of what it looked like before. And then you can see what it looks like now. Well, one of the unfortunate side effects for them, for Opendoor, with having just so few people covering so many properties, is someone did not update the photos on MLS, and it still showed the old brown cabinetry. They also didn't change the price. So there was a period of time where the property was on the market, it did not sell, and then in December they took it off the market, and during that time they did this kitchen renovation. So they redid the cabinets, they redid the countertops, and they installed a plank flooring. Typically when you make those kinds of improvements on a property, you would adjust the price accordingly. That didn't happen. On top of that, when they did do new photos, they did actually load them to their Opendoor app. However, they added them after the old photos. So for a period of time, their app had both the old photos and the new photos, but with the old photos displaying first. So in essence, my clients got a free kitchen because they never increased the price and they didn't properly market to the public. So we didn't realize that the kitchen had been redone until we physically arrived at the property. And at that point, we knew we should put an offer on this property before more people get physically here to see it. So that's exactly what we did. So once we were in contract, we moved forward with the typical inspections and assessing the condition of the property, anything that maybe needed to be repaired, anything that was maybe built or added that didn't quite meet code and would have to be dealt with at a later date. So unfortunately, we did find that there was a wooden structure in a deck that we would need to address at some point. The homeowner was going to have to either remove it, rebuild it, or something at his own expense. So as a consequence of that, we did submit a request for repairs, or in this case, credit, in order to help offset that future cost and to make the property a little bit more advantageous for us to purchase. So we submitted the paperwork per our required timelines, and then we waited. And we waited. And the agent on the other side was very nice about letting us know that it was taking a while and it had to go through different channels and a variety of other things. But in the end, it took 10 days for them to get back to us with a resolution to this. In the end, I ended up getting my clients $9,000 in credits, which they were overjoyed about, especially in this market where a lot of people are giving up their inspection contingencies at the offer stage and let alone getting any kind of credits. But it did create an extra layer of stress and uncertainty that I think was unnecessary, and probably just a virtue of the fact that you have multiple layers of people that have to review things, and their system is such where you're not dealing with a person or even a couple of people. So that would be my suggestion to you, is to just be aware that even the title company is a little different. They have their own title funnel that they are comfortable with, that they have vetted. The whole process is a little different for the consumer. So just be aware of that if you decide to go the Opendoor route. I will say, however, that my clients are thrilled with where we landed with the property, because they got a new kitchen, they got $9,000 in credit, and they get to move into their new home soon. I hope that gave you some insight into how buying from an iBuyer, or specifically Opendoor, is different. If you have any questions or concerns, please put them in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer anything that you might have. My name is Heather McCarthy, your concierge agent and realtor with Better Homes and Gardens Reliance Partners here in Roseville, California, and I hope to see you in the next one. Hi, I'm Heather McCarthy, your concierge agent and realtor here at... That was messed up. Hi, I'm Heather McCarthy, your concierge agent and realtor here at Better Homes and Gardens Reliance Partners in Roseville. I don't know why I added here.